Hello and welcome again to Forgotten Temples with myself, Mr. B. Now today we're at Prasat Buntra Bang. And you've got to love this backdrop, haven't you? I'm in this sort of rocky sort of crevice. And in the back there's a fire smouldering away, making an effect like a deep fog. It's really, really mystical. And is it any surprise? Because this place goes back an awful lot of time. For here we have a temple to the ancient lord Shiva. But there's also another element here that's worthy of consideration. Now this is a special one for myself because front and centre is my favourite god. We are on a mountain of the great Indra. Now Indra was the Hindu god that created the thunder and the lightning and the storms, and was even the god of war. And we meet one of his brother gods here, but also someone he had a bit of a spat with once, because Vishnu is portrayed here, because this place is a temple to Vishnu. Now very quickly, just to explain this very sweet story, is Indra would go out and battle this giant serpent. And what that serpent would do is he would block the rivers and the waterways and consume the water. This, of course, led to drought and famine and great misery. So Indra, being the mighty god he was, would come down and he would slay this serpent, cut open its belly and release the water. But then his elephant would come into play, a beautiful white elephant called Aravata that he would travel around on. And that elephant would then dip his trunk into the water, soak it all up, point skyward and release it into the sky. And that is where the blessed rains would come from, when this dynamic duo got together and fought the evils of the serpent. But as time went on, Indra kind of fell out of favour because other gods like Vishnu and Shiva came along, and we will be looking into the face of Vishnu right here. And as he fell out of favour, dear old Indra, he probably got a bit drunk one day, but he certainly got a bit annoyed, and he created the storm of all storms to show his might. But Vishnu wasn't to be outdone, because when Indra released this storm, Vishnu went boom, created the world's biggest mountain range and deflected that very storm. And I think that story is absolutely fantastic. Just like a loving family, they're having their squabbles. And here is the side. Up in the Kulen Mountains. Now Kulen means lychees. You know, there's lovely delicious things with the big pips. And it's here King Jayavarman placed one of the early capitals of the entire Khmer Empire. But he wasn't the one to really start here. It was Prehistoric Man, because man has been here for centuries beyond centuries. We have no idea, but there are certainly, there's rock art and there's carbon dated material which takes him back millennia. But what we see in front of us dates back to about the 8th, 9th century, the times of King Jayavarman. And what we see in the middle is where the linga has been taken. And this yoni in the centre, and this is in exceptional condition. Look how sharp the lines are on this thing. And it's been here for nigh on 1,000 years. And isn't this an absolutely heavenly sight? We see these rock formation crowned with the greenery of the jungle. And as I mentioned, this was the home of Prehistoric Man, and he could not have chosen better. We're elevated because we're in the mountains. You've got the protection with these mighty rocks. And out here, and look what we're seeing here. We're seeing the tops of the trees. We have a great position to hear and look out for prey or potentially enemies. Now, there's some ancient carvings around here I quickly wish to show you. Now, can you see them here? It's going to be difficult because of the sun, but let me get in. Can you see them? Here's the head, here's the arm, here's the body, and the legs are here. Can you see that? There's another here and another here. And there's Mr. Elephant. If I can capture him. Can I capture you, Mr. Elephant? There he is. Here's the ear, here's the head, the trunk comes down here, and there's the other ear. So ear, ear, and head, trunk. Isn't he fantastic? But we're going to nip over here very quickly, because this is where Prehistoric Man probably made his residence. Because there are priests back when that actually lived up here as hermits, and what you can see is these holes in the wall here, and they go all the way along, and then of course there's one pole here at the moment that would have made a roof. Now, how old those holes are, we will never know, because you cannot carbon date stone. But with the roof up above, this down below, and the beautiful cool wind lapping across my face, this is exactly where I would call home. Now, we've have to come off script a little bit, like I have a script, because we've got something really special, and it involves me throwing my hat down for just a moment, because have a look at this. It's a butterfly that's just come out of his cocoon, and he's enormous. Let me just put my head behind him. You see that? He's huge. And you know what? Butterflies and moths have always amazed me, because just imagine you're walking along on your many, many legs. You go into your cocoon and then you sleep. And when you wake, you can fly. I mean, it must be truly incredible. And to see a jungle butterfly of this size, the biggest I have ever seen, and up this close. This is what miracles are made of, isn't it? Seeing such wonders as this. Maybe the gods are sending us another sign. And here is a close-up of that amazing butterfly. He's an absolute miracle of nature. And it's this way we need to go, so we can look into the face of those ancients. Because down here is a king and a reclining Buddha, I believe. Now this place is really hard to get to. It's the most difficult site that I have to deal with. But the rewards are here. Have a look at this. Can you see the elephant trunk in this beautiful moss? And as we come round, we have this, where a statue once stood. Now, I'm told by a gentleman here that this was to Vishnu, but over his shoulder, if he stood here, was the king. Now, can you see him? This is his face, and this is his body. Now, that would be King Javavarman. I have to scoop this way. Oh gosh, it is very slippery. And we can see here that there are priests. Can you see them? In the middle, and two characters flanking left and right. And this one's very difficult to sight, because we know that Vishnu was here. There's a carving of Vishnu. So this carving of Buddha must have been later on. Now, his head is here, this is his body, and then his legs go from here down to here. Can you see that? Now, what would have happened is this ancient city was developed in the 8th, 9th century, and they were very much Vishnu, Shiva, Indra sort of guys back then. So this reclining Buddha would have come much later. So there you go. Another fantastic location that even goes back as far as prehistory. A place where Vishnu was worshipped, and later on we have the appearance of Buddha. We have life mutating in front of our eyes. But I wish to finish on this, and I don't know if you'll be able to see him, but I do hope you will. You could certainly get the proportions, because everything here in the jungle in Asia is bigger, but I don't know if you'll be able to see. But let me try anyway. Here is a spider, and he is about the size of my hand. Now then, I don't know if light's reflecting off the web, but the web I can see comes all the way down to here, almost off the screen. So from here it goes, and I'm going to have to jump to there. See up there where that twig is? There, that's how big it is. So from here all the way up to there, it's, I would say, a little over a metre, and it is the same from here to here. It is absolutely huge. So our butterfly, remember him, he's over there, literally about 15 yards less. And this chap is here, as big as my hand. They're both big bruisers, but I'm hoping when his wings have dried out and he starts his life living on the wind itself, that he goes that way. Please, darling, go that way. This has been Mr. B, Forgotten Temples. Please like, subscribe and comment. And until next time, I wish you absolutely nothing but the very best. You take good care.